And as I just explained in this video, that's how you can grow your account and consistently make money 1 month after the other, just like me. And not just that, you can even beat the S&P 500 in these major indices just like me easily. Hello everyone, so today I'm going to go over the criteria for buying a penny stock before it spikes up like that one, before it moves up like 200-300%. In some cases it does that. So let's go over that. So you can see here that I drew my resistance based on this point here where the price approached that point and then went down. It did not close above this point, and then here it approached that point as well and went down. So I drew my resistance I determined this resistance line and drew it based on these 2 points. And sometimes you can even go farther back, and you can see here that this was a support where the price went down, approached it, and then moved up, then went down, approached it, and then moved up, and then broke it, came up. When it breaks that support, this support becomes a resistance. So here it was a resistance where the price hit that line and then went down and then came up and it broke it again. And so you can see that there is a history even in the past. But I mainly focus on the last 2 points that I see, and in this case it's here and here. And what happened with this stock is that I saw that I drew the resistance line, and then I saw that at one day the price broke that resistance line and it closed at the almost at the high of the day, and most importantly it closed above that resistance. So that's why I actually bought it here, and I ended up selling it, I believe, somewhere around here. You can never determine what the high of the stock or like the maximum price that the stock will go to. You can just give a guess. And for me, I like the penny stocks because they can go up high like that. And this is one of the criteria that I wanted to show you, that I look at the stock based on the support and resistance. So here it was a resistance, then it was broken. I bought it here because this resistance now became a support, and you can see even that the price went down, approached that point, and starting seems like to go up again. But I'm not sure if it's gonna go up again like a lot, or maybe it will break it and go down. I am not sure about that. But this is my criteria. This is the first thing, the support and resistance. The second thing I look at is the float, and you can see here the float is 40 million. That's quite a low float. The lower the float, the more the potential that the price can move up high, like very high in a very short period of time. Like if that float is 10 million, the stock can go up high like 300% or 400% in one day. So it's not always the case when it's like if the lower the float, the higher the price will move up. It's not always the case like that, but for sure, like if like the stocks that go up 300 and 400% in a day all share something in common, which is that they have like a float of less than 200 million, and most of them have a float like of around 10, 20, 30 million shares available to trade. So it's generally when the float is like below 50 million, then I feel like there is a high chance of the stock going up like 300-400% in one day. And if it doesn't do that, it can also approach this 300-400% in a couple of days, or sometimes even it goes to 1,000 or 6,000% in a couple of days. I've seen that, or a couple of weeks. So that's the beauty about the penny stocks. Of course, they can sometimes go down, but I like them because the maximum you can lose is 100% of your investment, and that's like theoretically, and it's kind of impossible for the stock to go down to zero. It's not gonna really happen. The chances of this happening are very slim. But as I said, it can go down a maximum of 100%. That's what you can lose, 100% maximum, but you can gain like 4 or 5 thousand like percent. So you can get a lot. Like for the stocks that reach it, there are stocks that can reach 1,000% in 1 or 2 days, and that's like 10 times your investment. So you can lose one but gain 10 times of your investment. Anyway, we'll get to that later also. But this is the second thing, the float. And then I look at the average volume as well. I want an average volume to be of at least 50,000 shares traded, like on average, because I want liquidity. I don't want to end up not being able to sell the stock if I want to. So there should be some, at least like a 50,000 shares on average for the average volume of the last 3 months. And then I look at the volume on the day itself when it broke that resistance, and if there is quite a high volume, that's a good sign that there is movement on the stock, or people are trading this stock and buying it. Like in that case here, there was kind of a spike in volume. It's not huge, but there was a little bit of upside. Yeah, like you can see that here was like a high volume versus the previous 10-15 days. It was quite high, so that was a good sign. That's the second thing I look at, or I don't know, I forgot the counting now. Maybe third, fourth thing. There are a total of, like, I look at the support and resistance, the float, the price, the volume, the average volume. So these are actually 5 things that I look at. Anyway, I talked about the support and resistance. I talked about the float, the average volume, the volume. I also look at the price, and that's important. I should have mentioned that maybe at the beginning. But the price is very important because I like the penny stocks, and the penny stocks by definition, like in the past, they were defined as the stocks that are priced at $1 or below. But now they're defined as any stock that is priced $5 or below. So instead of $1 and below, it's now $5 and below. So these are defined as penny stocks. So that's one of the other things that I look at, the price, and I want it to be like below $5 when I buy. So that's the second thing. And you can see here I ended up buying this stock, and it was a good investment, actually, or not investment. It's like a trading. It's a short-term investment or trading. And you can see that the price went up to like 260%. But of course, I did not sell up there at 260%. And if anyone tells you that he can predict the highest the price can go to, is lying to you pretty much, because we cannot know that. We can make a guess, but you'll never know what the maximum that the stock can approach or reach. So these are the most important things that I look at for a penny stock to buy. And I like to buy it before spiking up. So like if I wouldn't buy it on that day, honestly. If I see it like going up there, I will not buy it like at a very huge price like that, because there's a huge risk that it's gonna go down, like really really down. So these are pretty much my criterias, and we can go over. I prepared some other stocks that I bought or that I see as a good example to go over. So let's go over these so that you can see also how much the price can go up by. So that's a great example. I also bought this stock, and it was a great stock to buy. You can see that I build my resistance based on these points. Here you can see there's 1, 2, 3. The more the points, the better the resistance, by the way, and the better the setup, because that means that there is a strong resistance. When the price approached that point or that line and went down like multiple times, that means that this is a strong resistance. So when it's broken, it's most likely to be a strong support and hold the price above it. So here you can see, based on this point, based on that point, there is a point here. I drew this resistance, and then the second I wanna show you exactly the point when I bought this stock. It went really up, it went really high, this stock. But here, I was watching that stock and I saw it here. Then that it closed at the high of the day and above this line, and that's when I bought it. And you can see that there was. It's quite hard to show you. Um, let's try that. Oh man, it's really hard. Okay, but I hope you can see that green bar. That's the day I bought this stock when it closed at here. I bought in the aftermarket hours or close to the market close. That's when I buy and look at these stocks. And you can see that I saw that there was a huge spike in volume, quite huge, like in relatively in respect to the previous days. It was a spike in volume, and the price was closing above the day at the high of the day. So that was a great sign that the stock can go up really high. And you can see the float here is 4.66 million. It's really low, great float. Of course, it can be lower than that. There are stocks that are lower than 1 million, that they have like lower than 1 million shares to be traded or available to be traded by the public. I'm not gonna go over the definitions now. I'll make another video about the definitions if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm assuming that a lot of you guys will know these. And anyway, if you don't know it, you should watch my other video. I'll make another video soon about the definitions of these terms and why they're important. But the float is one thing that I really look at. And here you can see that the float was low. The price here was at, you can see that the high was at like 3, and here it's like 3.25. So it was still a penny stock. Sometimes you know, if a price is like $5-6, maybe I would consider buying as well. It's not like there is not a hard stop at $5, but generally these are the penny stocks below 5, and the traders look at these penny stocks like that are below 5. So there is more movement on them, I guess. Usually these are the stocks that spike up or gap up. And here the average volume is 5 million. Of course, at this time it was lower than 5 million, because you can see that the next day the volume was like 226 million. So that's probably taken into the consideration of the average volume. So the average volume is most likely less than that. But it wasn't, I'm sure that it was not below 50,000 shares. So it met my criteria. And the volume for that day was like 800 or almost 900,000 shares traded. So that's a good volume for that day. And I'm not sure if you can see what from where I'm reading the data or not, but it's like on the top left of the screen. It says 883 million shares. And by the way, this is Webull. It's a great app. I'll make another video about it. But it's a very, very good app to trade on if you guys like. And you can also sign up using the link in the description below if you want to get free stocks. I believe they're offering now like two free stocks if you join, or even if you sign up, or even 4 stocks. I'm not 100% sure, but at least you'll get 2 free stocks, and they can be like Google or Facebook. And so I really recommend Webull. It's very user friendly and easy to use, and I'll make another video about that. I don't want to waste your time talking about that. Maybe you already have a account, and you can, and even if you have an account, you can sign up again and get the free stocks. But anyway, I ended up buying this stock here when I saw that it closed at the high of the day, as I said, I don't remember exactly if I bought it in the aftermarket hours or right before it closed. But that's when I bought it, and you can see that the next day it spiked up like really huge. It went up very, very high. Like it went up 1,200 and 1,200%. You can see that on the right. Like it's more towards the right of the screen, the right side of the screen. It's about 1,200%. and you can do the math as well. It went from 3 to $35, and I did not sell up there because, as I told you, I don't you cannot expect when the where the price is gonna end up at, or where the maximum the stock can reach. So I believe I actually sold around here when the market opened because it was already high, like 280%. But maybe I should have waited. It would have been better. But yeah, anyway, you cannot regret anything. You never know. Maybe the stock never like opened up here and then started to go down again. It happens a lot of times. You never know. But at least I was right that the price went up, and it went up like it approached at a good point for me to sell. And here I talked about the volume, the average volume. So yeah, these are the things that I consider, and that's a great example. We can go to another stock, which is Losh. I keep getting that one wrong. L-O... Ah, man, it's not that. L-O-D-E. Yep. Load. Or Comstock minimum. I don't know, whatever. I don't care that much. I just want to know if it's a penny stock or what's going on with it. So here you can see I drew this resistance based on these points. Here there's 1, 2, 3. When I see that the price approached this line and went down, and here it approached that line and went down, here it approached it and went down. So it was like a 3-point resistance for me. And here it never closed above the line. You can see I crossed the line, but it did not kind of close above the line. So and it's not a black and white area when you're drawing the resistance line or the support line. Like a person may think that it's here, another person may think that it's here. It's not a black and white area, it's a gray area. But you can kind of see and draw that line. And what happened is that I looked at this stock, and it's hard to see as well. Yeah, really hard. But you can see here, this is the candle that broke that resistance. So and there was a decent volume, 3 million. You can see that the volume was up here, like all the way here. I hope that you can see this green bar. It was a high volume with respect to the previous days. So it was a sign for me that there is something going on, because as I said, when there is a volume and the price closes at close to the high of the day at a green candle, and it's a green candle, that means that a lot of people bought the stock, and that's why the price went up, and it still kept being up, and there was a lot of movement on it. Like a lot of people traded it and bought the stock. So that tells me that maybe some people know something. Maybe they're insiders that bought this stock. And sometimes, like usually it works out like that way. When there is volume, I become more comfortable in buying the stock. You can see that this stock went up quite a bit as well. On the first day, it went like 226%. And if I waited longer, I would have been able to sell it at 700 or probably like 500 or something percent. But it went up after a couple of days to 700. And so the average volume was probably around 11, 10, well, probably it was 9 million or something, which is for sure is above 50,000. And 50,000 is the least I go, but I kind of prefer the average volume to be even more than that. But this criteria is not black and white. As I said, it's gray. Like sometimes I would be like, oh, it's 49,000, yeah, but the setup is really good. The price it's a penny stock. The float is really low. Then I might be like, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. And I told you about the volume on that day that I bought was about 3 million. And the float here, you can say that, yeah, the float is quite high, but I ended up buying it because the setup was good. The price was around $1.30, so that was like way below $5. So I felt like this price offsets the float. So I said, okay, it's still a low float stock, so that's why I ended up buying it. And I saw that it spiked before, so it gave me the confidence that it can do that again, and that's what ended up happening. So that was a good deal, a good stock to buy. And then let me go to the next one, TAOB. TAOP. Yep, that is third or fourth on my list. And here you can see that I drew this line. It's more like based on this point and that point here. And I kept into consideration that the price like spiked up here, but it did not close above the line. And here as well, it did not. It passed this line, but it did not close above the line. And here as well, the same thing happened. So I said there is that line is a line of resistance based on that point, this point, and these spikes not closing above this line. That's how I considered and thought about it, as a resistance point or line. And what happened is that on that day, on the 29th of January, the stock price closed above that resistance. So that's what made me think that that this resistance is broken, and now it should be a support, and that means that the price is going to go up. And there was quite a bit of volume. You can see here that it's quite a bit of volume, like relative to the previous days. It was more. It was about 1,400,000. Here the average volume was probably around 2 million. Like for sure it's above 50,000, and even way more than that. Probably it was 1,000,000 or 1.5 million, I would say. Yeah, probably 1.5 million, 2 million even. And I told you about the volume on that day is 1.5 or 1.4 million. And then the float, you can see it's 7 million shares. That's a low float, and I like that about this stock. And then you can see that it ended up going up like all the way to 300%, which is really decent. I forgot at what point I sold, but pretty sure I made a profit out of it. So it was a good stock for me also. And the price was at around $3.50 something, or probably I bought it here. It was around $4, less than $4. So it was a good deal. Let's go to the last stock, maybe. Not maybe, it is the last stock. Here's a fifth example. So you can see I looked at the last points. I saw that here. As I said, it's quite a gray area. It's not black and white, but I would consider that a point. You can raise it a little bit, maybe like here. I would consider that a point still. And here a second point. And kind of also these I kind of can consider. But I said at least there are 2 points, and the price never closed above this resistance line. So, and there was a volume here, quite a bit of volume, 1.4 million as well. There was a bit of volume. The average volume was for sure probably around 900, 800,000, and the float was 1.8 million, very low float. So I like that stock, and I ended up buying it around here. And you can see that it went up 216%. So it was a good stock too. And so you can maybe you're asking yourself now why I'm showing you all of these stocks that I just made profit out of, and you might be wondering, like, do I just make profits? And of course not. I wanted to show you these stocks as an example, but of course not. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I make money. But you can see like the good thing about these penny stocks is that when I make money, you can expect to make like 50% like return on investment, or even 300%. That's in my case. But these stocks sometimes go up like 1,000%, or as I said, I've seen ones that went up like 4,000% over a couple of days. I can actually give you an example. I think I remember that one. Yeah, this one in last year on the 23rd of September, it went up. You can see on the right of the screen, it's about 3,800%. 3,800% in one day. That's how much it went up to. So like that's a good thing about these penny stocks, is that they can go up like huge. They can go up a lot like that in one day or a couple of days. Versus like the maximum you can lose is 100% of your investment, and that's kind of impossible. But the maximum gain you can get is a lot. So that's what ends up happening with me. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I make money, but when I lose like 20-40%, maybe 50%. But when I make money, it can be like 50 to 300%. So that's what offsets it and makes it a great thing for me, at least. Of course, they're risky, and you really want to think about think about it before getting into a position. Like, I mean, don't put all your money in a penny stock, or even all of the penny stocks. You gotta diversify as well, and put some money on the side, or invest some money in these large caps or mid cap stocks. Like, because these penny stocks are very risky. They can, like, you can end up losing a couple of times. It doesn't mean like if you lose this time, then the next time you're gonna win, or if you lose the next 2 or 3 times, then the fourth time you're gonna make money. It doesn't work out like that. You can keep losing money. So they're very risky, and you want to think about it before having a position in these penny stocks. But as I said, if you know what you're doing, it can really go up high, and you can really make good profits, like me. And you've seen at the beginning of my video how I've been able to make money consistently 1 month after the other, and even beat the S&P 500 and these indices. I think I'm now like 90% versus the S&P 500, which is like 23%. So that means if I followed the S&P 500, I would have made like 23%. But what I did is like 90%, and you saw that on Webull. So that's pretty much about the video, and I hope that you guys liked my video. And if you I'll keep uploading videos about that, teaching you about the stocks and the terms, definitions, stuff like that. Webull, definitions, the apps and other brokers, options, things like that. So if you like the content and what I'm showing you guys, you can subscribe to the channel to get notified as soon as I upload a video. You can click on the bell notification icon, and you can get free stocks if you want to sign up to Webull as well, and it will be a great help for me. So that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and wish you best of luck.